G'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Craps Down Under. I wanted to thank everyone for their comments on my last video, which seemed to get people thinking, and certainly there was a fair bit of discussion around probabilities and how we can work out the probabilities of a progression succeeding or failing. So I thought I'm going to try and demonstrate that without getting too heavy into the math, but covering just enough to get the idea across. So I'm going to see how this goes. So what I want you to think about is, imagine we're at this starting position here, this yellow chip. That's where we're starting. If we imagine probability when we're doing, say, a progression or any kind of sequence of bets, we're starting at some position. We've got our wagers on the table. You know, maybe we're playing like what I demonstrated last, the 5 versus the 9, or the 4 versus the 10. In both those cases, it was a 50-50 outcome. So what I'm showing here is we're starting at this position, and we're basically following a forks in the road. So I'll sort of show how this goes. So given it's a 50-50 outcome, we've got a 50% chance that we're going to either win, or a 50% chance that we're going to lose. And so that simple probability is it's a 50-50. We're going to get an even money payout minus our VIG, and the VIG's how the casino actually makes their money on this particular bet. And you know, that's the very simplistic, basic first step that we do in our progression. The next step, if we get a loss, is we come to basically the next level, and in this progression we didn't increase our bet, but we bet again, and we get the same outcome, a 50-50 chance. So we're either going to lose or we're going to win. But the difference between the first level and the second level, in order to clear our losses, we need to do a second same bet to clear the losses and generate the profit. Now, and that's the sort of crux of what we're doing here. So we get a win, then we bet again and get another win, and then we've actually got a profit. Now, the probability of going from, you know, we started here, that was a 50-50 outcome. Again, it's still a 50-50 outcome to go to the next level. We're either going to win or we're going to lose, and it's a 50-50 chance of either way. But again, the chance that we end up either here or here, it's a half times a half. And going down this path, it's a half times a half. So half of a half is a quarter, or 25%. So half the time will go here, half the time will go here. Then of that half will go down this path, and the other half will go down that path. So a half plus a quarter is 3/4. And obviously that's not 100%. We're missing something. And what the missing part is in this case here, we actually we don't always get a win. We actually get a second loss. I'm going to put that as a white chip, and that's actually becomes what we call a push. We neither win nor lose, but we go back to this level here. So we either lose and we go to the next level, or we win and then we try and win again. And if that's great, we go back to the starting position with profit. If we lose, well, we don't go back to the starting position, but what we do is we start back here, and then we try and either go down one of these two paths, back to a 50-50 chance again, so half and a half. But what actually happens here, and why this is actually really important, these pushes, they actually affect the overall probability and chance that we're going to fail our progression. So if we come back to here, we've gone, okay, we started here, we've lost, now we've won, and then we need to do another win to clear our previous loss and make our profit. But if we don't win, we lose, we're back at square, or not right back here, but we're back at this level, and then we've got a 50-50 chance again of going down either of these two paths. But again, as I said, the same way, the chance of you going from here to here is a half times a half, which is a quarter. The same thing applies here. It's a half times a half times a half, which is an eighth, right? So instead of an eighth, it's an eighth chance. So there's a 1 in 8 chance we'll go down this path. There's also a 1 in 8 chance we'll go down this path. When we're at this level, where we've got a 50-50 chance of going either way, and same 50-50 chance here, but it's literally, you're just multiplying a half times a half times a half, however deep down you go down the tree. Now, the probability I gave in my video, you know, said the simplistic probability is how many times can you lose in a row, you know, as a run of losses. Well, it's a half times 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 a half. That's 7 losses in a row. That's actually a half, a quarter, a quarter, an eighth, a 16th, a 32nd, a 64th, and a 1/28th. So that's why I said the probability of 7 losses in a row is 1/28. But the thing we have to take into account is this push here. And you can't really ignore the pushes, even though it appears that you still got this 50-50 probability. When you take into consideration that, well, we can never win going down this path, we come back to the start again. So we take that out of the situation, and what we've really got is we've got, to get an ultimate win, it's a half times a half, which is a quarter. To get a loss, we've got a half. So we've got a hell of a lot more chance of losing than we have of getting two wins. And when you actually work this out, you've basically got 2 ways to lose and 1 way to win. So it becomes a the 2 in 3 to lose and a 1 in 3 to win. So you're dealing with 66% versus 33% to win. And when you actually multiply 66% all the way through, it doesn't end up being a 1 in 1/28. It ends up being like a 1 in, starting from this, it's about a 1 in 22-23 chance of losing the progression. So I wanted to clarify that because of these pushes, you actually end up with a worse probability of winning. When you ignore the pushes, you take them sort of out of the picture, you have to base your probabilities on this one and this one. And yeah, that's why we end up with that's why in my last video, we actually did end up getting to the end of the progression relatively easy. Another factor in the last video is what we were doing here is we are also same betting. And the idea was that, well, if we do a same bet, we still got some winning that we can come back to here. But ultimately, when you're dealing with like a Fibonacci style progression, it's kind of it doesn't really help you. It actually takes away your profitability. You're actually better to parlay your win and basically bet the full winnings of the first win on the second win. And when you do that, which is what I kind of showed in my previous progression videos, when you actually parlay your win and you actually work out all of how far deep down you can go, and you follow all of these different paths that are possible, because off each one of these there's a possibility of winning, and and then the second win, and it's quite a sort of a road forking, branching and branching and branching. Every roll of the dice is another branch in the tree. When you actually work all those probabilities out, and then you work out what are the payouts at all of those different levels, you do end up with a situation that your wins pretty much equal your losses. In some cases it can be a little bit less because of the vig. So yeah, it's not like a martingale. A martingale actually will, it accelerates a lot quicker. The Fibonacci is a lot more shallow, but it still does accelerate relatively quickly. So then we get to the point, well, how deep should one go? And then, as I showed in my last video, we were bringing, you know, I think it was about 2,600 to the table to actually play both of the numbers. I said it was basically 1,300 per pair of numbers that you want to play. So we were playing 2 pairs, so that was 2,600. So the idea behind that was to increase your the number of times you're going to win versus the number of times you're going to lose. However, ultimately it doesn't matter a great deal, and what I think we can do is actually do just a 3-level progression. And sure, you're going to with a 3-level progression you're going to lose around 22%, but you're going to win 78%, and you don't need to go anywhere near as deep in a progression. You don't need to bring as much bankroll to the table, and you should be able to, in a good run, you should be able to still end up with some reasonable chance of profit, given that yes, you will win 78% of the time, and you will win on those bets. You will actually accumulate a reasonable amount that will give you a chance to have a win series versus the 1 in 4 chance, or I think it's 1 in 4.5 to be exact, that you're going to lose. So you'll win sort of, you know, 3 or so for every 1 that you'll lose. So I think it's a reasonable trade-off. So that's what I'm going to kind of just run through now that I've sort of confused everyone with trying to explain probabilities and that. It does get a bit complicated, and I apologise if I've bamboozled everyone, but you really have to think of probability as branching and forking in the road, and when you consider all the possibilities, you know, the math actually, yeah, it's very easy to end up getting an incorrect assessment of what the actual risk might be when you don't consider all of the different factors in there. So in my last video, I was really only considering this main loss chain that you go down here. When you start to factor all of this in, the probability dropped to 1 in 22 times you will lose, rather than 1 in 128, just considering this one path. So just really important there. I wanted to clarify that. I don't want to mislead anyone with probabilities and things like that. But the variation that I want to do is I don't believe that doing a same bet is the best outcome. I think you're actually much better to parlay, and because either way, you know, you're wanting to win the next bet, and by parlaying you generate so much more profit, and you're not getting the situation of this push either. So yes, you are requiring two bets to win it, but you don't have the push and sort of looping around again. So yes, you will get to the end more. It's a high probability to get to the very end of the progression, but that profit more than makes up for it. You end up so much further ahead with your profitability that it doesn't even matter that you hit the end of the progression. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it to just to 3 levels, because I think that's a reasonable kind of starting point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get our chips ready, and I'm going to start. I'll pull that one out, I'll put them in. I'm going to get rid of all these hundreds. So I'm literally just going to start with a $600 bankroll, and we're just going to do a very simple parlaying progression to 3 levels. And so let's get started on that. So $600 bankroll. We're going to just play. We'll play the same. We'll play the 4 and the 10 and the 5 and the 9 like we were last time, but obviously a much smaller bankroll this time. So again, I'll put down a $20 buy. Let me put him on there. We'll do the 4 as a place because it's only 15 that we're putting on this guy. we need to put 30, lay 10 for 30. And we're going to put this guy for 30 as well. And lay him. So, and the other thing to put down is the on. Everything's working. So to be very clear, we're always wanting these to work. This wins with the same probability that this loses. It's 3 versus 3. It's a 50-50 chance. Sevens don't really impact us. Yes, we have to pay a little bit of vig, and you know that's just the cost of doing business at the casino table. And obviously on a win, you've got to pay some vig. But by and large, it's true odds against true odds. So we're just trying to get a 50-50 outcome here, similar to what you would get playing, say, Baccarat or something like that. You can't get a 50-50 outcome really at the roulette table, because you've always got, say, 0-0 or 0 and 0-0, depending if it's European or US. So Baccarat's the only other game that really has a 50-50 outcome. Ties in Baccarat you don't lose on the tie, where on roulette you do lose on that green 0 or 0-0. In craps, there's not really, there's sort of the pass line and the don't pass. They're as close to a 50-50. What we're trying to do here is sort of increase our action a little bit by playing more numbers here. So we've got 3 plus 4, which plus 3 plus 4, right? So we've got a larger number of combinations that we're playing here. So let's get started. We get some dice. Let's see how we go. Just playing 3 levels. So all that means is we're going to do, we'll play at this level. The next bet will be the same bet at this level, and the bet after the loss after that we'll double our bet to this will become this will go from 30 to 60, and then when we parlay, we'll increase both this and this to the parlayed amount, which will basically go up to I think this will go up to $90, $90 lay. So on the parlay, but because it's using winnings, we're really only risking our original wager out of our bankroll. So let's see how this works. We'll get started. I'm not going to track the point. We've got to come out 7. So that's going to be $2 of vig. Hand the dealer $2, and all our action stays up. It's off the table. Some more dice, and we've got a 9, so we've hit one of our lays, so that's a loser. So in that case, we've got to replace the bet, so put that down. Dealer will take this back, and I'm going to mark it that we've had a loss, 1 loss in that box, but our bet level stays the same. And we've got another 7. So $2 in vig. Oops. And we've got a 5. So that's a hit. So the 20 is going to pay 30 for $1 of vig. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to put that over on here. We're going to bump up our lay with the win, so we're doubling our lay. So that means we need to double here. So this is, what we've got on here is 20, so that needs to go up to 40. So I put down our 25, 30, 35, 40. Alright. Sorry, done that too many. 30, 35, 40. $5 going to go in a rack. So I've been working all day, I'm tired, and I apologise if I am a bit getting these levels and things wrong. I'm just a little bit fatigued today. Anyway, we'll get this going. So that's a 3, doesn't affect us. That's a 9, so that's an example that we've lost the parlay. So we lose this one, we've hit him. So I'll just mark that that's been hit again. So that comes down, we've lost the parlay. So now we go up to the next level. Conveniently, we're already up the next level here. So just put that back there. So that's going to win, and then if this one wins, we'll then parlay it again. Uh, 12 doesn't affect us. And a 7. Again, 60 playing to win 40. So that's got to pay $2 big there and $1 big for the other one. So $3 in big in total. We've got a 10, so that's hit another one of our lays. Let's mark it. So this loses. And hand the dealer $40. Put that there. And let's roll. Level stays the same, exactly the same. And 4, so we've got our first hit on that. So the 15 pays 30. Oh, sorry, pays 27 because it's a buy, sorry. So obviously we need to add a little bit to do the parlay, so we need to put that on there, whack him up to 60. Because we're putting 60 here, we've got to put 30 here, so I'll drop 25 there. Put $5 back in our rack, and that's not on. That's a sorry, other one. So that's also a buy now. So it'll always be on now. So I'm hoping to get another hit on that one before we get a hit on that one. And we've got a 9. So that's an example where we have failed our progression straight off the bat. We've gone to our third level and he's failed. So we've lost $60 there, plus we've lost $30 twice, so for a total loss of $120 on that progression, just going to the third level. So we will drop him back down to start over again. Let's start over at 20. Put a buy. I'll put this up here. Pass the dealer 5. Get a lay back on at the base level. Let's see how we go. I want to see if the probabilities get roughly where we expect them to be, where we should be winning this. This is going to lose 1 in 4.5 times, so we should be winning more times than we lose. And we've got an 8, which doesn't affect us. And we've got a 4. So that's good. That's a parlayed. We've had a $30 there is going to win $60, which is exactly what we have on our layup here. So we've completed that progression there. So we can go back down to our $15 level, and we'll put that back as always on, just so we know, so we're not tracking the point. So this will go back in the rack. We'll bring this guy back down, take back 30. So ask the dealer to bring us back down to a $30 lay. I can get rid of this because we don't need to track him. He's at the base level. So both numbers are at the base level. And we've only had one failed progression so far. So maybe I'll mark how many failed progressions we've had. Let's do that. 5, so that wins us $30 for $1 big. Oops. So that's a straight up win. With this progression, we're not parlaying the first win, we just take that first win. We're just taking it. Alright, so maybe I'll put him over there, get him out of the way. Alright, so we're still at the same level, so that's good. And maybe I'll use the purples to count how many wins we've had. So we won on the 10 before, on the 4, and we've just won on the 5, so that's 2 times that we've won versus the 1 time that we've lost. That's kind of off the table, so to start again, get another dice, and we've got 7, loving those 7s. Alright, 7 there, so $2 a vig, all our action stays up. And we've got a 6, doesn't affect us. We've got a 9, loving that 9. And as we said in the last video, we can certainly always, if we think the table's trending, so let's do that. Let's just say, oh look, don't like the look of this, so we've lost our 9. We say, okay, dealer, put me back up on the 5 this time, because I'm not getting a good feeling about that that 9. I reckon it's going to keep hitting, so we just say we do that. Of course, we'll probably be wrong, but I just want to demonstrate that you know, for whatever reason you think a number's hot, then change your bets around. It's the same probability, nothing's really matters here, it's all the same. So we've had a loss, I do need to mark that, so let's make sure we've had 1 loss. We're on the next level, but the next level in the progression doesn't increase the bet amount, it keeps it the same. And we had, look at that, a 9, so that was a good call. So I take that back, I was right, I knew it was going to happen. Alright, so we've won our bet there, so what we do, we put that up, we say press my 5, or take it up to $60, but we also need to drop 25 here and take ourselves up to 40, take 5 in our rack, and if we get another hit, then we'll have won that progression. 10, so I've had a hit. So I've had a hit on our 10. Let's say we do the same. We go, well, we've just lost that one. I'm going to say, dealer, take my 4, move it to my 10. He goes, no worries, and put me up on the 4 for $30 as a lay. So you say lay the 4, $30, and so we've swapped over to try and follow what we're seeing at the table. I've got a 2, that doesn't affect us one little bit. And we've got a 6, doesn't affect us. We've got a 5, so there we are, we're getting punished for changing now. So we didn't quite get our progression, so we failed our parlay that we've tried to do, so that's failed. So we'll take this here. Now that's at the $60 level, but again we have to replace it because this bet at the next level is at the $60 level. So we say put me back up $60, thanks, and off we go. So we'll stay on the 5, see what happens. And I forgot to mark that we've had 2 losses. I need to do that. So there we go, we've had a 9. So that's good. We've our what was it? Our $40 here is going to win 60 over here, and with our $60, we parlay that up. So we're now at 120. So that's 120. Now this obviously has to go up as well. So 40 plus 40 is 80. So we just throw in a couple of greens, and so take us up to 80. And he'll give you back. The reds. So you're at 80, so it's 80 to win 120. Will we get there? And we did. So there we go, we've got there. So that's going to win 120 bucks, and I'll put it in greens just so you can see how it looks in the rack. 100 and 120. 120 there. As you can see, 120. Right, so then we say, okay dealer, take me back down to 30 on my lay and 20 on my 9, thanks. So we'll say he does that. Put all this back in the rack. And got to hand the dealer some reds. He'll give us back all the greens. He'd probably just do it himself, but anyway, let's just say that's what we do. And we need to mark our win. So I've had another progression win. So at the moment, 3 to 1. That's not too bad. Get rid of that. It seems the probabilities are roughly what we'd expect. Oh, we had a 9, so that's a $30 winner. You just take that one. Take him. That's it, we're done. That's a win. So here we go. 4, so we've had our lay hit over here on the lay 4. Now, I believe I didn't track that correctly because we did have a hit, which is why we moved it. So that is our second hit on the 4. So apologies there. Let's say we do the same thing. We think these, oh geez, these 4s are starting to hit. So let's swap ourselves, well this obviously is the loser. So we'd say swap my my 10 to the 4, thanks. But actually what we need to do, we need to go up to $60 level. Because that's our, we've failed twice, so we're at the final level of our progression, which is a $60 lay. So we'll say lay the 10, thanks, and put me up on the 4 for 30 bucks. So dealer will do that, and that'll be a buy. So let me get this guy, it's a buy. So we're hoping this is the last level. We only got a 3-level progression, so this is the last level of progression. So if we win this, we'll parlay it to see if we can clear the progression and make our profit. And we've had an 8, which doesn't affect us. Another 8. Midnight. 5. So we've hit our lay. So that stick's fallen down. All right, so we lose our lay. We'll mark that as a loss. And I'll tell the dealer put us back up. Let's say do we stay on it? Maybe we'll stay on it. The 9's been good to us. We'll see what happens. If we get another 5, maybe we'll swap then. All right, so we're staying at the same level. We've had 1 loss. Let's keep rolling. So we're hoping we don't hit this. We're hoping we'll hit this before we hit that. But we need to hit this one twice before we hit that once. Okay, so that's 3. 4. So that's a nice, that's encouraging at least. So I've had a 4, and we've got, what have we got on there? We've got 30. It's going to pay 60. So that gets, say, press up our 10, please. So you'll press that up. So we're at 120 there. So we need to go to 60 here. So throw that down. 50, 60. And we've just got one more, we're just asking for one more hit. And look at that. ask and you shall receive. So we're going to win our 120 bucks. 60 wins 120. There you go, 120. Chuck that back in the rack. And we'll take us back down to 15, please. So we'll give the dealer 5. Get back our other money. Take all this back down to 30. Thanks, dealer. And get all this back. Alright, so that's not too bad, and let's mark that we've had another win. So far, even with a 3-level progression, we seem to be winning more times than we've lost our progression. 3 is not a bad number. 3 is a quite safe progression. You're not going to get into deep bankroll territory there. You literally, it's $120. But at this point, let's just say, okay, let's say stop. Just say, I know we've still got to try and recover our first loss here, but let's just say, had enough, I'm going to walk out. Let's see where we're at. See what profit we've got. Pull that back in the rack. Alright, I'll put all these little laminas over here for the time being, and take them over there. Alright, so just going to colour these up. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 1 left, so that's 2 5s. Pull this back. See how many of these we've got. 1, so 2 left. Yep. So we need 2 25. Cut that back in the rack. Put this back up here. All right. So 200. $206. So $206, we haven't really taken on much risk, and we really haven't done anything amazing. I don't think the rolls have been anything special. It's pretty normal what you'd expect. So that was starting with a $600 bankroll. There's our original 600. Because I've taken the whites out, so that's exactly 600 what we started with there. 206 profit. Just playing a simple 3-level Fibonacci. It is a Fibonacci because we're doing 1 unit, and then 2 units, and then we stop at that. And we're parlaying our wins, and that's what generates the profit to overcome those losses that we'll get. So it does seem to give us a reasonable chance of getting some wins. So anyway, I'm looking forward to your feedback again. I hope I haven't confused you with all the probability stuff at the start of the video. Apologies if it's confused you more than it was previously. Yeah, the probability stuff can be quite sneaky. It can be really sneaky, and it's very easy and subtle sometimes that you can just miss little details. So we've tested this very briefly. This is not statistically significant or anything like that, but we have at least tested it. We've at least shown that with a very modest bankroll, easily bring home $200, bring home 20, 30%, 40% of your bankroll. Not a problem, and we did have 1 loss of $120 in there, so I think it's shown that it's reasonably safe to play. So yeah, look forward to your comments and thoughts and feedback. I really do appreciate everyone who's taken the time to have the discussion and share their opinions on ideas. This is why I'm doing this channel. I'm only doing it because I just want to discuss stuff and share ideas. You know, I'm not really looking at YouTube as any kind of sort of a business or enterprise or anything like that. I'm just wanting to share some ideas. So I don't have any plans to do any advertising or anything like that. I just want to share stuff and get feedback from everyone. So hopefully that's been useful or informative, and yeah, I'll put some more videos out very soon. I want to probably go back to the other progression that I was doing earlier, that had the multiple levels. I think I'll go back to that and also cover off some of the math of that one a little bit as well, because I've since again gone into the more detail, like what I just showed before, around calculating you know, probabilities of, you know, pushes and all those sorts of things that are in the various progression approaches. So it's not easy to work it out and be 100% sure that you've got it right. So I'm just doing my best that I can. I do apologise in advance if anyone's taken anything I've said and been taken it out of context, or you know, I haven't been clear about things. And the last thing I want to do is sort of say something that's not true. I don't want to say anything that's not true. I want to really keep to the sort of the facts and the truth of the numbers as much as I can. So, and be as clear as I can. So, you know, it's my failing. I'm sorry if I haven't been able to achieve that today. But yeah, bear with me, and I'll try harder to make this stuff clearer. But anyway, thanks for watching.